Everybody, I pray that you are doing well today. It is a blessed evening. It's another MidLink. We're here 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So it's that time for MidLink. I'm Pastor Ty. MidLink is right here. It's your midweek connection. I want to thank you for getting on with us today. And I want to let you know that we have something very, very, very special for you today. And so I need you to do me a favor. You guys know what I'm going to ask you to do. You should have already done it by now. At some point, I shouldn't have to ask for this, but I will. I need you to share this. I need you to like this video. I need you to make sure you're being notified when we're on. Man, tonight's topic is something that is very important, and it is affecting, I believe, most of us, if not all of us. If not affecting us directly, it's affecting those who are around us. You don't want to miss tonight's broadcast, but you also want to make sure that your friends and family and coworkers and loved ones, everybody, have an opportunity to get what they need to get from tonight. So do me a favor, real simple ask. I want you to click the share button. Just click it and then choose how you want to share it. And if you want to go over and be over and above, you can. And you can invite somebody, or you can hit somebody on Messenger. You can text somebody, tell them, hey, MidLink is on. Go check it out. And I will be so grateful for you doing that. As a matter of fact, they're going to be grateful that you did it, because it's going to absolutely bless them. Now, before we move right along, you know what we do. We do this right here. Check in. That is the check-in. And so I just want to see who's in the room. I just need you to say hello. How you doing? Hey, Joannis Grace says, good evening. Hey, I see Tanisha Dillon says, good evening. Good evening to you. Deacon Rick, all the way from Tennessee. Good evening to you, man. Good to see you on. Hey, what's going on? Miss Sylvia, good evening to you. Anita Williams is on. Good to see you on. Let's see who we got. Myrtle Dillon is on. Mother Dillon's on. All right. Good afternoon. All right. We have Tiffany Sales. Good evening, everyone. Tree Swain. Good evening to you. Hello, Marlena. Thanks for being on with us today. What's going on, Miss Denise Shelvin? Thank you so much for being with us today as well. Hey, Kamala. I hope I'm not messing it up. Miss Simmons is on. Thank you so much for being with us today. Blessings to you. Everybody, if you haven't already, make sure you share. Even if you're watching this by way of replay, it's not live, you still can share. And I believe it'll get in the hands of the right people that need to hear what we have for you today. Today is going to be a very impactful broadcast. And so I want to make sure that everybody, as much as possible, can be a part of what we're going to share tonight. Now, during the month of January, we talked about vision. We talked about being able to see beyond what's right in front of us, beyond the obvious. And we talked about being able to look into our 2022 year and all those other wonderful things. If you haven't got a chance to hear those lessons, all you have to do is right here on this page where you're watching is go and scroll back a couple weeks, and you can check out the lessons on vision. But as I told you when we launched MidLink at the beginning of January, that you kind of don't know what you're going to get in MidLink. Sometimes we'll do lessons like that, more of a Bible study. Sometimes we'll do interview style. Sometimes we'll have special guests. And today is we've got a combo. We've got an interview style, but it's a special guest we have with us. I told you last week we were going to make a shift and go into relationships for the month of February. We want to talk about just the dynamics and the connections that we have with others and with ourselves and how that impacts our life. But I wanted to pause. I wanted to stop, because sometimes there are moments that we need to engage in. And I believe we're in one of those moments as just a race of people. I mean, not necessarily race as in black. I mean, just humanity, the human race. And we're seeing so many things happen that are just kind of off the radar, things we haven't seen in, I don't know if we've seen them ever, or if they're just like really coming to the forefront. But I wanted to pause. I wanted to stop on the wake of all of these suicides and different things happening and tragedies. I thought it was important for us to make sure that we connect to people where they are. And so tonight we really want to dig in and talk about mental health. And you know what? I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything. I'm smart enough to know how to connect with my allies, connect with those who are friends, those who are associates, those resources, and to call in people who are have an expertise in a particular area. And so tonight we have a very special guest. She's going to join us. She's coming in, and I want you to, in the comment section, I need y'all to just go ahead and show her some love. This is our first guest on MidLink since we've launched, and so show her some love. And we're bringing into the room, we're bringing in Dana Calhoun. Hey, how are you?
Good evening, Pastor Ty and everyone. How's everybody doing?
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for being with us this evening. I really do appreciate it.
You know, I always appreciate you talking about mental health and how it matches with the church.
Absolutely. It does match with the church. And I believe that sometimes we overlook those scriptures in the Bible. We were talking about this back in the green room, and I said, you know, all we have to do is read our Bible, and we'll find out that God is absolutely for counseling, for therapy, those kinds of things. You know, around Christmas time, we just came out of that time about a month or so ago, a little over a month, and you know, we go to Isaiah and we talk about mighty counselor, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And we talk about the Holy Spirit in John chapter 16, and he's our counselor, our aid, and those kinds of things. And then just from a natural standpoint, you know, if we're going to get married, hopefully we're going to seek some marriage counseling, you know, that kind of thing. And our physical body, if we want to get in shape, we go physical therapy or physical trainer, you know, that kind of thing. We want to get our eating together, a nutritionist. We go to those specialists, but when it comes to our mind, our emotions, just psychologically, for some reason, it's been taboo, especially in the church and especially in the African American community. You know, and it's unfortunate that the stigma is that you are like out of your mind, or either, you know, this is something that's relegated for well-to-do Caucasian people. You know what I mean? And
We
it
have
is
definitely got to break up those stereotypes and those myths and
absolutely.
make it more just as commonplace as getting treatment for asthma or diabetes or, like
I
you
love
said,
that.
physical therapy and all of that. We've got to normalize it.
I love that. I love that. I would agree 100%. As humans, we're complex, and so to try to just have a cookie cutter type approach, I just don't believe that works well. And God has made us the way He's made us, and He's given us people such as yourself who can help us in what we do. So, can you just introduce yourself to our audience and who you are and what you do?
I am Dana Calhoun. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I practice here in a private practice in Gaston, seeing ages 13 through adults
Wow.
for all type of therapy needs, anger management, parenting classes, depression, anxiety, stress management, all of those things. I have been in private practice for 4.5 years, but have been in the mental health field. Ooh, my oldest daughter's 23, so 25 years. This year is 25. I have to start from a reference point and add up. I've worked in juvenile probation, juvenile detention, inpatient behavioral health, outpatient behavioral health, substance abuse. So I've seen how mental health is connected in all those different facets of life.
Wow. Yeah, you had some experience in this. I didn't know you were gonna say 20 anything. Uh, you gotta ship us some of that water you drinking over there, because 20 something year old, and oh man, that is awesome. But you've seen a lot, I'm sure. And just for those of us, you know, we're hearing about mental health, different things, and it's getting more of a larger platform or more attention than I think it's gotten since I can remember. And
And that's
sometimes,
needed.
yeah, that's much needed. And I think it even needs to be more. Can you just kind of give us a basic working definition, or just a basic summary of what is mental health?
It is what the words say. It's the health of your mental status, your mind. It's your brain health. It is no different from our physical health and really shouldn't be separated.
Wow.
When we think about physical health, our brain is in our body, but somehow we keep not taking care of it the way we do other parts of our body. So our mental health is the care of those things that go on in our mind, our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, all of those things. And so the mental health is taking care of those things.
Yeah, that's very good. I think that sometimes I can kind of speak just kind of, especially in the church world. I'm all for, praying for people, and
Hmm.
I believe in deliverance and all that other stuff. But then there's some components that are just like mental things that need to be dealt with from that level. So over the years and you working with as broad of scope, you said 13 years old to adults is who you service right now, right?
Yes.
Wow. So
Wow.
yeah, exactly. So this is not something that's just relegated to adults. It's not just relegated to a particular people group or race. It's not relegated to a gender.
No.
If you have a
Everybody
mind,
has a brain, so everybody needs to tend to their mental health.
wow. Yeah, you need to tend to your mental health.
So you
Go ahead.
tied in the religion part, and so often people will say, well, just pray about it. And I always say, but okay, once you pray about it and God answers you, and that answer is go seek therapy, then what? So yes, I do encourage people to pray about it, but also hear his answer. And if he says go seek somebody else outside of the church, do that as well. So I'm
Yeah,
always grateful when you do have the mental health programs through your church, and especially tonight.
well, thank you so much. Yeah, we're about a holistic approach to uh, ministering to the whole man. So let me ask you this: since you've been um, in the mental health field for so long, do you think that things have been heightened, or do you think that we're just kind of paying attention to it?
We're just kind of paying attention. I think social media kind of brings it more to light. But I tell people COVID killed a system, a mental health system that was already dead.
Wow.
So the problem was already there. I think it was worsened by COVID, but I also think social media plays a part in that, both identifying mental health problems as well as resources. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with social media.
Yes.
But I think these problems have been going on, and I can say statistically wise, we're going backwards.
Oh wow.
So from 2003 until I think 2018, the rate of African American suicides increased a minimum of 6% each year.
Wow.
Where and in 2019, suicide was the second leading cause of death of African Americans from age 15 to 24.
Wow.
So it's been a problem. It's a growing problem, but hopefully some of these new platforms and talking about it kind of normalize it, and we can start getting people the help and treatment that they need.
Wow. Second leading cause of death.
In 2019, from ages 15 to 24, suicide
15 to
was the second.
24.
Yes.
Wow, because when you hear that, and most everyone on here, I'm sure, has heard about some of the high profile suicide that
Hmm.
have taken place over the last week or so. Uh, uh,
Think about
actually,
all the ones we don't hear about in the
yeah,
news.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. The ones we don't hear about, and when you look at those people, just that age group, or you look at those who were celebrities and that kind of thing, it's like, man, they got it all going for them. We assume they have certain resources, and
Hmm.
they're attractive, or they have this, or they have the fame, they have this, that, and the other. And so in that age group, you're talking about 15 to 24, like you're just getting started, you're just living
Yes,
life, you're in you got all this energy, you're just or we assume.
we
So
assume.
what is, and I know we're not, I know you can't just give us like a diagnosis necessarily, but what brings a person to that point? In what have you seen, let's put it that way, what have you seen in that age group, or in in demographics that we wouldn't think would be suicidal or depressed.
It's actually the same thing in adults. It's anxiety, it's depression, it's poverty, it's some type of trauma. It is exactly the same thing we're seeing in adults. And we keep telling ourselves it's just a kid thing. We've got to stop normalizing that trauma. We've got to stop minimizing kids' feelings and emotions. We've got to move away from kids are to be seen and not heard. We've got to listen to them. I tell my parents when I used to do a parenting class that listening to them doesn't mean you agree with everything they say, but if you don't listen, you have no idea what their thought process is.
Wow.
So some of the same things that are causing adults to commit suicide is the same things that our kids and teenagers are dealing with.
Wow, that's scary. You know,
and then throw in some peer pressure with all of those things, and throw in some social media, and throw in, unrealistic expectations of educational success or job success, or, live up to a family name. So, that age group is dealing with all of those things.
Yeah. Someone said, yes, ma'am, I've learned to listen with different ears. Yeah, that's wisdom, different ears. So, we know you're drinking this. We're drinking from the fountain of youth, so we understand that. But for some way, shape, or form, you have been doing this 20 plus years. So you remember no YouTube, no social media. Have you seen a difference, and what has been the impact on the trends as it relates to depression and those kinds of things?
Yes, and I tell parents all the time, like when they bring the younger kids in, I actually had to set an age limit because I was getting so many younger referrals. I was like, wait, I can't keep doing this.
Younger than 13?
Absolutely younger than 13.
Wow.
And I had to just set a limit that I would only see teenagers and up. But I have seen a big difference. One is the social media. When we were younger, if you said something about somebody, you wrote it on that paper. How long would it take that paper to make it across the classroom?
Yeah.
Or maybe to the next classroom.
Right.
Whereas now people can say something about someone and it goes across the entire world in less than a second.
Yes.
So I have seen a big difference. And then you have kids trying to fit in. And they want to be popular and they want to be liked. And then they get into that growing spurt where they're trying to, exert that independence. So I can absolutely see how social media has changed, the demographics of who I treat.
Wow. Wow. So many referrals under 13.
Yes.
And the social media thing. What have you seen? Because you talked about, just getting that, clicking send, and you send that message and it goes across the world. But what about the comparisons, because I would agree with you too. I got a few grades right here too. So I remember no social media, and you had to hear about maybe a magazine or maybe whatever to compare your life to other things. There were things we didn't have, but we didn't know that we were missing anything because it was what it was. We didn't really have a lot to compare it to other than the other people in the neighborhood.
So when you look at kids are already going through the normal life stages and they get to that seeking independence, but then all they have to compare is now social media. What kid earned so much money doing podcasts? What kid invented this, and not that that's a bad thing,
right?
But without the right context and without the right reassurance and an understanding that no two people are going to be alike, then kids start comparing themselves and thinking they're supposed to be doing and saying the same thing or excelling at the same pace as those that they're seeing on social media. And it's the same for adults. They compare themselves to what they see on social media as well.
Absolutely, all the time.
Yes,
all the time. And I tell people, like, you can't compare your life to someone else's highlight reel, because nobody's posting something that does not put them something that does not put them in a good light. You're not going to post that picture or that video if it doesn't make you look good,
right?
So it's the highlight reel. Willow commented, "Hey Willow, she's a teenager, and she says, man, social media can be so damaging, so
It
damaging."
can. And
Wow.
that's why we as parents and adults and teachers and therapists got to help them, balance that and how to use it for good, but how to also build themselves up to not let it control their life and their mind.
Yes, absolutely. So whether it is real versus real, that's good.
That's a good one.
That's good. Whether it is adult or whether it's children, can you talk to us just about uh, some signs of? Let's not even go to the place of being suicidal because, and you can correct me. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't just start there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's been going on for a period of time, however long that period of time is, but there's some stuff that's been going on. And I know, like, in a lot of times in the Black community, and I can speak to that because I've been Black all my life, so in other communities, I'm sure they would concur. But in the Black community, you would say, you know, something's wrong with this person, or we had little terms we would use, but we kind of diagnose them based on our language or whatever it is, and we
Hmm.
kind of put them in this category, but we don't necessarily go to the place of what are those signs of, and what does that really mean, and how can this play out? We just say, oh, he's this, he's that, or she's whatever it is. We
I
dismiss
think
it.
it applies to teenagers and adults.
Yes,
There's the depression, not sadness. Sadness is a normal emotion. It's okay to be sad, but when that sadness makes you not eat, not sleep, not bathe, not leave the house, not talk on the phone, not go to work, that's when that sadness is no longer normal, and you need to take a next step and getting some help. So I think as parents and coworkers and family members and church members, when we see this drastic change, um you know not eating, extreme weight loss, or overeating,
right.
an extreme weight gain in certain amount of a certain amount of time, isolating, any change in their normal routine, that's a time to say, hey, I noticed XYZ. How can I help you? So many times you'll see on social media or you're here, check on your strong friends, but you need to know how to check on your strong friends.
That's good too.
Because if you just check and call or text and say, hey, how you're doing, they're going to say fine.
Yeah,
And you
I'm
will
good.
have accomplished nothing.
Right, right.
So instead of doing that, point out what you notice. Hey, I notice if as a parent, hey, I notice your sleep habits are different. Hey, I notice your eating habits are different. And consult with others who know that person just as well, whether it's the other parent, a teacher, another family member, a pastor, a coach. Say, hey, I've noticed little Johnny, little Susie's not sleeping the way they used to. Have you noticed any changes at school, at home, in church? So that everybody can be a part of that helping village.
Wow, yeah, and it does take a village, and I think just based on um, life circumstances, whether it is COVID, whether it is employment type status, whatever it is, or just the anxiety from
Hmm.
am I going to get COVID or whatever it is, and you're saying this and you're feeding yourself these things, whatever that is, I think has like made us a little bit more exposed to just not being at the best place mentally. Uh,
And I think what that problem is that somehow along the way we're not teaching coping skills and
yes,
decision making skills. We're
yes,
kind of thinking everything is going to be smooth sailing. So when it's not, we're not equipped with the tools to handle those things.
yes, yeah,
So all of those things are nothing new. It's just somewhere along the way we got out of the habit of teaching how to make a decision. What are your pros and cons? What are your choices? What are your coping skills? What do you do when you feel your legs shaking? What do you do when you notice your breathing change and you're getting anxious? What do you do when you getting a headache, worrying about something? So somehow along the way we stop teaching how to take care of ourselves. Taking care of ourselves when we notice those things somehow became a negative thing. I don't know how that
yes,
happened. I
yes.
don't know when it happened, But if I could wave a magical wand, that would be the first thing I'd fix for people to understand that taking care of yourself first is not a bad thing. It is the most important thing that you can do.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that, and that's a switch that I had to make myself. As a people person, as a pastor, husband, father, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are roles that require you to give and to invest and to help and to give out and all this other stuff. And if you're not careful, you'll do it all in the name of being a good pastor, a good father, a good
Mm-hmm.
husband, whatever it is. And in the meantime, you're not taking care of yourself and you don't
Then you're
recognize.
not being a good tie.
Yeah,
You're
correct, correct, correct. And you can't be a good pastor tie unless you're a good tie.
absolutely.
You're only as good to those people as you are to yourself. And so, I had to make that switch and be willing to say, hey, let me uh, walk, or let me, nobody's going to take care of my health like me, or other than me. I can't blame
Absolutely.
it. Well, I got to do this. And now you're feeling like, you're doing something so big, but really in actuality, you are working backwards. So can you talk to us about, you talked about coping skills and all of that. Can you kind of get into that just a little bit? Because I've heard this like a lot from um, really young adults, people with families, and especially when kids were home and all the other stuff, and trying to work through that process is just like, it's too much. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I don't know how to process all of this. So can you just give us some insight on that?
And the first thing I tell people, you may have two hands, two eyes, two ears, 2 feet, and all of that. You have one brain, and it can only do one thing at a time. We have got to move away from this fallacy of multitasking. Our brain cannot do more than one thing at one time. I'm having a hard time now talking with you and looking at the chat room over here, seeing what the comments are, because I have one brain and it can only focus on one thing at a time. So the most important coping skill we've got to learn is to not overload our brain, which then overloads our body.
Yes.
So work on one thing at a time. You may not get it to full completion, but work on it, get it to a stopping point, take a break, literally walk away, do something else. People like to say I do breathing exercise, but really learn what that means. A true deep breathing exercise where you're focusing on nothing but breathing in and out. Walking away from things, taking those mental breaks, not focusing on what the problem is. Having some type of to-do list so that when you do get sidetracked, you can see what else you need to get done, so that it gets you back focused. But definitely learning those coping skills and identifying ways to prioritize the things that you have to do.
Yeah, and like for me, I don't know if this is like a coping skill or if it's just like something I do, but I'll go drive, or I'll just turn music on and kind of just sit back, and I'll find just a space where I can be to
Yes.
myself for a little while.
That is it, because that has shown you to be your recharge. So we
Yeah.
have to know ourselves. Some people that wouldn't work, but if that works for you, we got to normalize that everybody is not going to have the exact same response to those coping skills. So it's okay to try different ones until you get to what works for you.
Yes, and the other thing I do is I'm learning this ing, like I'm learning is to set those boundaries, and that
Yes.
like I don't have to answer every call or reply right away to every text,
Yes.
or whatever, every email. Is like that
The
anxiety,
biggest
like
thing is turning off those notifications, whether that's at night, whether that's for 30, 45 minutes, an hour during the day. We've got to be able to shut down. Our brains can't, and our minds just can't be on go all the time. We don't do it to our bodies. We got to stop doing it to our mind. And then, because that's what disrupts the sleep pattern, is that we're just telling our brain it's always got to go. We're hearing that notification, we're seeing that blue light.
Yeah.
And we're thinking we've got to look at it, we've got to respond right then. So being able to prioritize those things, but also being able to shut down when necessary, whether that's a short day break or whether that's a short weekend trip or whether that's a vacation. And on that vacation, we're not answering emails, we're not answering text messages, we're not answering work related calls. Really having that separation between work and home. And I think COVID messed that up even worse than it already was.
Yes.
We were already working more hours as a country, and then we took those hours home. And so people were not, taking those quote smoke breaks. I tell everybody to make sure you're taking your smoke breaks at work. I don't care if you don't smoke, go do something for 15 minutes like the smokers do anyway, away, from the work
Right.
setting. So we've
Right.
got to put in these do nothing moments. And
Yeah.
we can't think that we're lazy or we're slacking just because we take those moments to recharge.
I agree. And resting and sleep is like not in style in America. We got energy drinks, we got Monster, we got this, and so getting
Which
rest.
are the most horrible things in the world.
Yeah, yeah,
Nobody
it is
drinks
crazy.
energy drinks. And if y'all don't hear me say anything else, do not drink the energy drinks. Um, they're horrible, and don't drink Mountain Dew.
Wow, there you go. There you go. One thing I've learned, I implemented this, and this is good for those of us who are watching who are believers. I implemented a Sabbath once a week. It's a day I don't do anything. I
Yes,
just sit back and I may watch the movie. I may just relax. I may just stay in the bed, but it is a Sabbath rest. And I tell people, if God Almighty Himself took a day to rest, how much more do we in our finite
absolutely.
human self need
Absolutely.
a day? And guess what? Since I've been doing that, man, I the world didn't end. So
And that's my thing. And, I tell my kids and I tell my family, hey, it's me time. I'm not answering the phone. None of those things.
yes,
If it's an emergency, you might need to call fire, police, somebody else, because I can't help you anyway. I'll
yes,
help as much as I can after, but I'm on this downtime.
yes, that's very good.
And,
One,
and and that's how you set those boundaries and enforce them. And so you normalize it. So then they know. And now my kids know that they can ask for that same, hey, I'm not going to be available for X amount of time. Nothing's wrong. I just need a moment to reset. And so we've got to normalize that as well. And as we learn, we've got to teach, especially our kids, to know that they do not have to be going all the time. That they do have to have that mental and physical rest.
absolutely. One of the things we talked about before we went on the air, and I want you to kind of speak to this because we do overlook it. We say check on our strong friend, but there's other people who feel like they have to be strong that are in leadership positions. And you talked about the clinicians who are struggling because they're having more clients, more hours, and
Oh
then
yeah.
the counselor needs counseling or the therapist needs therapy. And my mind went to even pastors and just leaders of your home, just whatever it is.
We've
You know,
all got to have that downtime. We need to connect with those. But I tell all my clients, if you do not want a therapist who has a therapist, I'm not your person. Because just like you sit on this couch, I go sit on somebody's couch as well. Because I can't take care of me and
yeah,
all that I have going on personally,
that's
and then add on all that I hear in my counseling sessions from my clients.
yes,
So, we've got to build us some safe places, so that we can deprogram and deprocess some of these things. So we're not just walking around holding all of these things in.
yes,
We've got to have those outlets with like-minded people, whether it's the church just getting together and do nothing, um, or whether it's a group of friends getting together. Like I say, we have a thing where we have to get on Zoom and you can't turn your camera off. We need to see everybody's face, and that's just to check in.
right,
And most of the time we don't even talk about work or anything like that. It's just say, hey, how are you? What do you need? When are you planning to take a break.
Yes.
What off days are you going to have? Are you going away? So it's kind of pushing them to follow through, to
Accountability.
make
Yeah.
sure they are taking that downtime. Not are you going to do it, but hey, when's your next off day, or when's your next 2 or 3 off days? When's your next vacation? To kind of make it normal that we are not working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because I can tell you, there's enough clients out there we could.
Yes. Wow. I believe that. I believe that because you talk about the clients that you serve, and you got to think about the people who aren't even open to going to therapy
Oh yeah,
that need it, you know. And so I get that. Let's see. Tiffany said I had to learn every counselor, leader, mother, etc. needs a counselor. I would agree with that 100%.
absolutely. And,
Absolutely.
and I think what we need to normalize about therapy, it is not a counselor or a therapist telling you what to do or how to do it. It is a set of unbiased ears.
That's good.
Most of the time, my sessions are listening to people who already kind of know what they want to do
Yeah.
anyway, and just being that unconditional, unbiased set of ears.
That's very good. And that was going to be one of my questions as we kind of prepare to bring this thing to a close. It's just so good and it goes so fast,
I told you it would.
I know it. I know it. So if I am, when I look at those stories of those individuals who, uh, decided that they could no longer be here and they took their own life. Those closest to them said, hey, I didn't ever think they would do that kind of stuff or whatever it is. Can you just give us just a few things, not necessarily to be on the lookout for? We don't want to be paranoid about it, but what are some standout things that may be the difference between this person wants attention versus this person really is serious about doing something to themselves
Here's the thing.
or to
We
someone else?
gotta think, we gotta stop making the attention seeking be a bad thing. Because if somebody is that desperate for help that they would seek attention that way, we need to give it to them. We can worry about the why later, but we need to address that and not just blow it off as though they're just trying to get attention. Give it to them so we can get to the root of the matter.
That's good.
But what I think we don't understand is that most of the time, when you have the high profile suicides, they have a very unrealistic expectation of themselves. They have this perfectionism going on. So a lot of times, there are no warning signs.
Wow.
They will smile and do and go on. And there's not always a warning sign to it, but like I spoke earlier, it's the change in habits, or just having a conversation with them about, hey, what went well today? Not just how you're doing, but what did you do well today? What was a rough point for you? And making sure, again, they have that downtime, and that they don't have unrealistic expectations of themselves.
Gotcha. Now I wanna ask you this. Before we get to that point, what are some daily things that we can do, whether it's quiet time or whether it's getting the proper rest or whatever it is? What are some daily things we can do
It's all those things.
preventative maintenance?
Stay hydrated, maintain your food intake at a reasonable level. Don't binge and don't skip meals. Have
This
a
stuff
safe
plays on
place.
your mental health. Water.
Yes, I will tell a lot of people, just when things get rough and you feel those physical symptoms, take a deep breath and take a sip of water. That is the quickest way to hit that reset button.
Wow.
And then again, go back to doing one thing at a time. But some of those coping skills are staying hydrated, making sure you eat, making sure you sleep. Adequate rest is so important, because sleep deprivation will lead you to the hospital quicker than diabetes, heart problems, or anything else, because it will shut your body down quicker than anything else. So make sure you're getting a healthy amount of sleep. If you are waking up often or it's hard to fall asleep, try to not have caffeine after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so your body has a time to get out of it, out of its system, so that you're not disrupting your sleep pattern. But having a friend or a family member, more than one, that you can call and just say, hey, I need to vent. I don't need you to help me solve a problem. I don't need you to fix anything. Don't even need you to respond. I just need somebody to listen to me.
Yeah.
And also coping skills, schedule your therapy appointment.
Yeah, schedule you a therapy appointment.
I have one client that sometimes when she comes in, she sits for about 15 minutes before we can even start. She just needs that time.
Yes.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I would agree. And you know, when you said that, it just kind of made me think of, you know, sometimes with coming home from work and you need that time to decompress,
Yes.
you know, and so sometimes I know people that will kind of, well, yeah, sit in their car because they know as
Yes.
soon as they get in the
As
house.
I said, drive the long way home.
Yeah.
Don't go straight home, drive the long way home.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
establish that with your family. Say, hey, nothing's wrong. I just need a moment to decompress from
Yes.
that part of my day. Give me 30, 45 minutes, and then I can do XYZ. And I think the biggest thing is communicating that, so people understand where you're coming from, where you're trying to go, and don't think, oh, he's acting funny or she's acting funny. So communicating that, hey, I just need this moment to change gears.
Yes. Now y'all see why we had to have her on here. This is so much good stuff. Uh, this is
Oh,
good
Pastor Ty,
evening. This
real
is
quickly, I
informative
knew
and
we were
enlightening.
going to go long. Can I
No,
give
you're
some
good.
resources?
You sure can.
Okay, so if you have insurance, use it. Go find you a therapist. There's tons of ways you can, call your insurance for somebody who's in network. Also, EAP, most jobs offer it. And even if you don't have insurance through your job, you can get anywhere from 3 to 8 EAP sessions a year. So look into that. Starting this year, we're also going to have the crisis hotline number. It's going to be 988, very similar to 911, but it's going to be for mental health concerns only. So that's going to be 988, and it's starting soon. Also, you can call the 24-hour crisis line, 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. You can also text the word hello to 741-741.
All right. So I want to make sure you guys have it. Cause she's gonna. Can you give that number one more time, guys? I need you to put that in the comments so people can see it even when they watch the replay. So if you can put this number in the comments, she's gonna give it to us again.
Okay. The main one right now is 1-800-273-8255. Or you can text the word hello to 741-741. Veterans also have a dedicated line. They can text any message to 838-255. And then starting later this year, they moved back the mandatory start date, but sometime this year in 2022, we're going to have the 988 emergency mental health number.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So let me say this too. We need to make sure we have your information, how to contact you if you are local, if you're in Gadsden or surrounding areas, and sometimes you have to make the drive to get a good counselor. And so
I am local here in Gadsden, and I also do telehealth appointments like we're doing now.
okay.
My office number is 256-613-5305.
Come on, I need y'all help to type for me tonight. Tell it to us one more time.
256-613-5305. And I answer my own phone calls. I don't have an office person unless my daughter is home from school. But I answer the call so I can know, whether I can help them or whether I can refer them to someone else.
Awesome.
But we have a lot of clinicians in this area. And most of us may have some openings.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Uh this is Dana Calhoun's number right here on the screen, 256-613-5305.
Yes.
You guys,
Mrs. Dillon put the correct numbers, and Tiffany did. Looks like somebody else put an incorrect one. It's 256-613-5305.
yep, that's we got you. We got you. And then you have here are the crisis numbers.
Yes.
Text hello. And so whatever you need. Guys, don't ever be afraid to get the necessary help.
Yeah.
And
Call me if I can't help you. I'm gonna steer you in the right place.
yes,
I don't do these things with Pastor Ty and other people for the business. Trust me, there's enough out there, but I want everybody to normalize getting some help, whatever that looks like. And just before we go, Pastor Ty, getting
yes,
help does not always mean medication. So don't think that just because you start seeing someone that leads to medication. One, I can't prescribe medicine, but two, there are so many things that we can work on before it gets to that point.
yes, that is absolutely correct. I'm glad you hit on that. You don't have to necessarily get on medicine. And I'm also glad you said that you can use your insurance, because that's one of the biggest things. I can't afford therapy. I can't afford a counselor. And so you may have that benefit already and not be aware that you even have it. Listen,
Yes.
it's about our time to sign off. But what I wanted to do is take about somewhere about 5 minutes or so. If you have a question that you wanted to that you want to ask, you can go ahead and type it in the comments. Or if you don't want to necessarily put it in the comment section, but you have a question that you would like to get asked, then I'm going to tell you to text this number. If you text it to this number, we'll get it, and I won't mention your name. I'll just ask Miss Calhoun the question on your behalf. But we're going to take about 5 minutes, so you got to type quickly, and we can't get the whole family history, but we just need just to get us straight to the point. If you want to put it in the comments, you can. If not, you can type it text it to 256-292-TPPC, and I'll be glad to read it to her. And so we want to do that. We want to take full advantage of her while she's here. I told her it would be short and sweet and hard to beat, but she's in her passion, and so I can't just miss out on this wonderful information she has. So if you have a question or you have something that you want her to address in a very brief manner, she can't diagnose you and all that other stuff, but she will just speak to it if she can. If you have something that you want to share, we will definitely do that. I'm so excited that she was able to get on with us tonight. And with such short notice, I reached out to her. She said absolutely, and so I'm telling you, I owe her a major favor. Thanks, Pastor Ty Dillon, and for having Mrs. Calhoun on to support. Absolutely, I'm glad she was on to support. Great information and resources. Thank you so much. You're more than welcome. Thank you for being on. And if you guys haven't shared this already, it's not too late. Now you see why you need to share it. And even if people don't watch it live, if they watch the replay on your timeline, I just believe it. God has a way of directing this stuff to the right people. And who knows, this could literally save someone's life. And so let's make sure we do our part. It's a simple task to ask, to make sure that we are doing our part. I don't think we have any questions. We not getting any through our text service, and we're not getting any in the comments, which means that you are just absolutely thorough. And they put the information back up there so people would have it. So they would have it. So you're absolutely wonderful. That means you're an awesome communicator. No questions.
I enjoy doing what I do.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy spending time with you and your church. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for showing that you can have Jesus and therapy too,
Yeah.
and that they don't have to be exclusive of each other. So it
Absolutely.
is always a pleasure partnering with you guys.
Well, thank you so much. And the feeling is mutual. And you've come through for us on so many occasions. As anything we can do, to support what you do, I'm so glad and grateful to do it. And so just thank you for all that you do. And a lot of times we don't get a chance to see all the things that are happening behind the scenes, but we're just glad to know that you are making a difference, making it
I
happen.
try every day.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Y'all have a good
Okay.
evening, and call me if you guys have any questions. I do have voicemail set up because either I'm in session or on a call with somebody else. But if I can't help you, I will definitely give you the resources of to where you can go and get some help.
Sounds great. I think your line's gonna be blowing up, so
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Thank you again.
All right, y'all have a
Okay.
good
All
evening.
right, you too. Be blessed. Guys, I told you that tonight's broadcast would be special. And maybe you got on late and maybe you thought that it was going to be on relationships like we told you. But so you started to say, what was this going on here? I'm encouraging you to go back, watch this broadcast. And I believe something was shared for everybody, no matter what level you're on or where you are as it relates to your mental health. If you feel like you're doing fine, well, you need to know how to continue to do fine and to continue to have strong mental health, be mentally tough. I guess we can use that in tough times. And so, but it's about us making sure we're healthy. And she shared so many key tools and nuggets and information and resources, those type of things. So you want to make sure that you watch this broadcast. That's what we're about here at MidLink. It's not just about getting you on here so we can preach to you every week. That's wonderful. You got an amazing sermon today about life application and what it means to take care of the component that God gave us, which is our emotional, psychological, our mental health. And so I'm so glad that you made a decision to be on today and to hang with us. Again, if you haven't shared, if you haven't liked, you know what to do. But I want to encourage you to make sure that you're with us on next week. Next week, our plan is to continue and to stay, well, not to continue with this particular thought, but to continue on with our regularly scheduled program to begin to talk about relationships on next week. But this really is insightful, even concerning how we manage relationships. So don't minimize what was shared here tonight. Know that it was purposefully shared. We weren't trying to just come up with information to kind of fill the time. And so I'm so grateful for Mrs. Dana Calhoun being with us today. So blessings to you all. That is our time for tonight. I can't wait to see you again next week. That's Wednesday. We're going to be right here Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time for MidLink. Hey, much love to you guys. We'll connect with you real soon. Everybody be blessed.